they're sweeping plan B under the rug. They're acting like there is no plan B, and then they have excuses why there's no plan B, China, whatever. I think it's crazy. It's crazy that we're not just openly talking about plan B. We're just to pause AI.
So imagine you're going onto a plane and they tell you there's 30% chance that it will crash. I mean, you will never go on that plane, but they're putting the whole of humanity on that plane.
What I'm doing is super dangerous, and I'm deeply afraid of it. Are you anxious about that? I was like, hey, dude, why don't we fold up the clothes and put them back in the drawer?
3 dads running 3 YouTube channels, working to wake up the world to AI risk. Tackle 1 missed warning shot each week. If it's Sunday, it's warning shots.
Hey, I'm John Sherman, host of For Humanity and AI Risk Podcast. I need you right now to become a subscriber to the AI Risk Network. Go in, hit subscribe, hit alarm, do it. Welcome back to Warning Shots, everyone. I am John Sherman, so happy to have you here. I am joined, as always, by the incredible Liran Shapira of Doom Debates, who sent me a whole bunch of swag in the mail, and I am debuting my Doom Debates merch. Very excited to be in matching sweatshirts. We're going to get one over to Greece to Michael soon, and
you look stunning, John.
I feel so left out. I'm totally underdressed today, basically. So
that's all right. It's all right. We're Doom Debates hoodies for all soon to be coming in the mail. Viewers, go out there and order them on Doom Debates YouTube channel. You can find your merch link here on AI Risk Network. You can find a bunch of merch link, warning shots, stuff, all that kind of stuff. All right, and I'm joined also by Michael of the Lethal Intelligence channel. As always, great to see you, Michael. So today we are talking about a kind of a wild week in AI risk, I feel like, where we had several really important people come out with just blatant open admissions that they know that what they are doing is extremely dangerous and they can't stop themselves somehow. And just wild to think that these people who are creating this extremely dangerous technology are begging us to help them and stop them, but seem somehow incapable of stopping themselves all at the same time. They're emotional about it. So we had Jack Clark, the co-founder of Anthropic, come out with a letter, and we had Elon Musk and Matt Walsh in some tweeting that we're going to talk about. I'll first start off with the Jack Clark letter. So just wild stuff. He says, make no mistake, what we are dealing with is a real and mysterious creature, not a simple and predictable machine. We are growing extremely powerful systems that we do not fully understand. It is as if you are making hammers in a hammer factory and one day a hammer comes off the line and says, I am a hammer. How interesting. This is very unusual. And then goes on to says he is very deeply afraid and he must be forced to do the right thing. Michael, what was your thought on Jack Clark, an important person in the AI world, with an open admission this week?
I mean, this is not surprising to me because we've seen such quotes from many industry leaders. And specifically from Jack Clark, specifically, he had tweeted some very funny some time ago. He had this tweet. He was saying he was contrasting, when people are leaving regular companies, they're like, time for a change, excited for my next chapter, while people leaving AI companies are like, I have gazed into the endless night and there are shapes out there. We must be kind to one another. I am moving on to study philosophy. This kind of stuff. So it's, in a way, it's funny, but also, I mean, honestly, if you look at the demographics of people who are working in these AI frontier companies, 10% of them are vocal. They literally say we're going to be toast. I have a very high probability of doom, and I'm just sticking around just to have the slim chance of being some kind of temporary witness of this AGI God creator, just trying to glimpse around the corner as it happens. And then 99%, so the rest of them are just gonna basically not gonna say anything because it's just worried they might lose their job. And of course, you might ask, okay, why do you want to work there if you're worried about extinction? And this is a huge discussion. It's all about, I guess, part of it is that you cannot really, even if you decide to leave, you'll be replaced immediately. It's about incentives and market dynamics. So it's not, so no one wants to sacrifice so for example, in OpenAI, each one of them is a multimillionaire. And they don't want to give this up just on some. They're not going to do anyone any favors if someone else comes and keep going, and they will die anyway.
Okay, so Liron, I'm going to read you a little bit of what he wrote, and I want you to react to it. He goes into this whole long thing. I remember being a child after the lights turned out, and I would look in my bedroom and see the shapes in the darkness, afraid these shapes would become creatures I did not understand that wanted to harm me, wanted to do me harm. And so I would turn my light on, and I would be relieved that the creatures turned out to be a pile of clothes on the chair or a bookshelf or a lampshade. And then at the end of the piece, he comes back to it, and he's like, and now the clothes are starting to move around. I believe that like there's something real happening in the darkness. I was like, hey, dude, why don't we fold up the clothes and put them back in the drawer? But what was your thought?
Yeah, I mean, my number one beef with all of these kinds of people, the Jack Clarks of the world, basically everybody who still works at Anthropic and hasn't quit, my number one beef is that they're not putting their finger on the stop button. They're not even acting like there is a stop button. They're not acting like we need to have a plan B and we need to be ready to pause. That's insane to me. And I get where they're coming from because it's such a pleasant groove to be like going to conferences and predicting timelines and doing all this research and poking at the AI and, meeting with scientists. Like, it's a great time. It's a great community. And not to mention, you literally get paid over $1 million a year. So it's quite lucrative as well. It's a very comfortable rut. But if any of us were, driving toward a cliff, right, like doing something that we're driving in the fog, we know there's like a cliff edge, we're driving really fast, we would all naturally have our foot on the brake. We would all be looking like, okay, there needs to be a shutdown button. Even rockets have a terminate the flight button, where the rocket basically blows up intentionally, hopefully not with people on it, or hopefully you can eject the people. But point is, you need to have an escape hatch. And the problem with people like Jack Clark is even though they sound so thoughtful and, credit to him to acknowledge that he's doing something scary, some people won't even go that far. They act like everything's fine. The problem with him is he won't go so far as to say, okay, and by the way, plan B is this. And we've got our eye on plan B and we're thinking of maybe cutting from plan A to plan B. We're kind of on the verge of that. We don't know what we're going to do. They're sweeping plan B under the rug. They're acting like there is no plan B. And then they have excuses why there's no plan B, China, whatever. I think it's crazy. It's crazy that we're not just openly talking about plan B. We're just to pause AI.
So then he goes on to say, the rest of the world will surely want and deserves a vote over this. Most of all, we must demand that people ask us for the things that they have anxieties about. So he's telling us that like what he's doing is super dangerous, but then he's like, you may have anxieties about my super dangerous work. Like what? Then he goes on, are you anxious about data and AI and unemployment? Force us to share more economic data. Are you anxious about mental health and child safety? Force us to monitor this on our platforms and share data. Are you anxious about misaligned AI systems? Force us to publish details on this. What? Like, Michael.
So I think... Yeah, it's another funny image is this guy on the edge of the cliff. He's about to jump. He says, "Please stop me! Don't let me jump!" He's a. So there is a nice analogy. Fagella has used a lot of times the Sardanapalus urge, which is basically this historic person, I think in ancient Rome, who, when faced with being vanquished by an enemy, he decided to put fire on all his possessions and on his slaves and all his harem. So he decided to kill everyone around him, as opposed to let the enemies have it. And the idea there is, instead of succumbing to someone else's power, I want to be the boss. So why let someone else bring the god, or let's say the demon? I'd rather be me if it's going to happen. And I mean, if it works out, whoever creates the AGI will wield massive economic power, a machine that can do literally anything. And it's pretty valuable. And there is also massive physical power. So the military with AGI is almost certainly secured from the enemies, because you can obviously imagine the AGI will be moving the weapons, so even design weapons. So there's going to be no competition there. So yeah, the AGI founders have insane incentive to go pedal to the metal, and winning the race is worth all the risks that winning entails. Even if, I mean, the risks they're talking, we're going to discuss it maybe later, but we're talking about they're talking about 30% extinction, probability of extinction, So imagine you're going onto a plane and they tell you there's 30% chance that it will crash. I mean, you will never go on that plane, but they're putting the whole of humanity on that plane. And but I told you the reasons. I mean, there is so much to win, and if they don't do it, someone else will. And
that's the perfect.
It's crazy, right?
Liran?
Keith Raboy on Twitter had a really sharp tweet in the wake of the Jack Clark post. Keith is saying, if Anthropic actually believed their rhetoric about safety, they can always shut down the company and lobby then. And he really got us. I mean, he didn't get me, but like he got the Anthropic side, right? Because there's so many people who are performatively saying, oh, we're so worried. This is such a big risk. And Keith is saying, okay, why don't you just shut down Anthropic and lobby? I had the same conversation when I was talking to David Duveneau, who used to be one of the safety leads at Anthropic. And he's also one of the authors of the Gradual Disempowerment paper. A few months ago, I was talking to him on my show. And he was basically saying the same thing, that like all of these employees are conflicted, and he himself is glad to be out of Anthropic because he doesn't really get why they're pushing forward. You know, it's just like, it's just nice to be in this community where everybody else is performatively caring about safety, but you all think that somehow building AI is connected to your safety mission. I think Keith is very sharp to point out, well, if you quit Anthropic, if you shut down the company, you can still lobby. Like, it's not actually connected to building an AI that you can't lobby for safety. You can't research safety. People are totally rationalizing as if building AI gives you some edge on helping us not get destroyed by AI.
Yeah, and talk about a high ground. Like, if you had quit Anthropic based on your safety concerns, like Hinton did at Google or whatever, you know, you'd probably be a more effective lobbyist than if you were someone who is a corporate shill.
That's right, because the Keiths of the world, everybody's saying, hey, you guys are, I mean, this is kind of dumb, but they're saying you guys are just doing regulatory capture. So the regulatory capture argument is a little ridiculous. They're saying the only reason you guys are raising a big fuss about safety is because you want the government to put up roadblocks for small new companies in the space so that you guys can dominate the space. I don't think many people are thinking like that. I don't think the Darios of the world and the Jack Clarks of the world are thinking about regulatory capture. So I think he's going too far with that attack. But the thing is that attack will always be credible. Like, if people always believe that attack, because they'll always just be wondering, they'll always be looking at the dissonance of like, why are these people so worried about AI and still building it? And so regulatory capture is always something that they're going to rightly suspect.
This letter was like brain noodlery to me. Like, this stuff about like your anxiety, you know, what I'm doing is super dangerous and I'm deeply afraid of it. Are you anxious about that? Let me address your anxieties about this thing I'm doing. What are you talking about? All right, let's move on to...
Well, let me add this too. I talked to somebody who worked at Anthropic a little while ago, and I was trying to be explicit. I was like, okay, so there's a race to AGI. You guys are in the race too, and let's say you guys have like a little bit of a lead. Okay, and you guys get AGI. It's superhuman. It's sitting in your labs. Okay, so what's your move? Like, what do you do? This is what you're putting all your chips into this pile, right? You're throwing caution to the wind so that you can get there first. You're there first. What do you do? And the guy was like, I don't know, you know, that's like Dario's job. Like, he didn't know. He's like, yeah, Dario's going to like do something when that happens. Like, that's the plan.
Yes, we'll make the monster and we'll put a hat on it that says safety.
Right, exactly.
Like, and I agree. We should not really, even though we keep saying that it's the incentives or the market structure and we need external governance and all that. Of course, yeah, that's true. So even if Dario resigns, nothing will really change, but it will have a huge impact. So we cannot say, okay, these guys are saints. I mean, imagine if Sam Altman resigns and say, you know, I have to resign because I don't want to kill humanity. This will move waves, you know, it might have an avalanche effect or just
totally. Oh my goodness.
Like Jeffrey Hinton, he resigned from Google so that he can freely talk about this. So he's a hero. I mean, if we had more of that, it will make it sense. So we should say, you know, okay, they don't have any responsibility. That's not correct either.
Yeah. Totally. All right. So now our friend Elon Musk, who has famously in the past said the quiet part out loud, where he's like, you can be inside the room or outside the room. I know the inside the room is where they're making the doom. Outside the room is like where they're not. But I got to be inside the room because, you know, I can't be outside the room. Liran, tell us about this tweet with Matt Walsh and the situation. More just blatant admissions that the people who are making AGI know exactly the danger they're risking.
All right. Screen sharing here. So Matt Walsh, popular right-wing political commentator, he says, it's weird that we can all clearly see how AI is about to wipe out millions of jobs all at once. He's not even talking about killing people, but okay, wipe out millions of jobs all at once, destroy every artistic field, make it impossible for us to discern reality from fiction, and destroy human civilization as we know it. Okay, that's pretty close.
Right. Yep.
And yet not one single thing is being done to stop it. We aren't putting up any fight whatsoever. So that's nice that he's concerned, even though he's not really mentioning extinction. But I want to focus on Elon Musk coming in and replying on Twitter. Elon Musk says, "Not sure what to do about it. I've been warning the world for ages. Best I can do now is try to make sure that at least one AI is truth-seeking and not a super woke nanny with an iron fist that wants to turn everyone into diverse women." And then the grimace face. Like, that's Elon Musk's response. Like, are you kidding me? You're one of the most powerful, effective leaders on the planet, right? You're one of humanity's go-to people who could potentially save the species if you put your mind to it.
Yes.
And you're basically just giving up and being like, well, listen, second prize, first prize is you save humanity. Second prize is you make sure that the AI doesn't try to be too woke.
And not to mention, his super not woke AI, Grok, is constantly calling him out. And when people ask it like about woke stuff, it is way more woke than he wants it to be. And so, when that was going on, he gets out the oven mitts and whacks it and it becomes Mecha Hitler for a hot second. And then, goes back to being, not super woke, but not too woke. Like, it just shows he cannot align.
His team doesn't have any research insights. All they're doing is they're just tweaking the knobs a little differently from other companies tweaking their knobs. That's it.
Yeah. So, by the way, Mad Walls, I think I discovered Mad Walls through Elon Musk. And it was, he made a very famous documentary called What is a Woman? Which was a lot about, transitioning, all that stuff. And he's right-wing, very popular. And maybe that's why he's answering that way. About, nanny, but
right.
It's bullshit like that makes everyone think that extinction risk is not serious, because I will read you a quote from Elon Musk just a few years ago. He said, "With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. We know the story of a guy with a pentagram and the holy water, like, haha, sarcastic laugh. You're pretty sure you're going to control the demon." So in a way, that's literally the words Elon Musk said a few years ago. And now he comes and says, I'm going to make a woke AI, So it's just schizophrenic in a way, right? And it's just stuff like that makes you, because if you're from the outside observing this, you're saying, okay, Elon Musk doesn't believe in X risk, obviously. Otherwise, he's creating this divide. He's making it.
Right.
And
your actions speak louder than your words.
Exactly. We need to step up to the task. I mean, if you're a leader and you have so much influence, you have a lot of responsibility with for how many people are going to listen to this show, and how many people are listening to Elon Musk. And I don't believe that he has. He's concerned about curiosity, so he says that it's going to be safe because his AI will be infinitely curious. I mean, this is a bit crazy, right? This is a bit stupid. Like, you think. You might have curiosity to see how many human bones you can put together to make a ladder. Curiosity can be anything, right?
Or Michael, if it is genuinely curious and it is genuinely much smarter than us, how would it possibly allow the dumb humans to gatekeep its own curiosity, its own exploration of itself and the world around it?
That's a joke.
We can argue with Elon, but I think the biggest takeaway for people is just these are two leaders of top AI companies, right? We looked at Jack Clark, we looked at Elon Musk, and their statements are both unbelievable, right? Jack Clark is saying like, yeah, I'm worried about like the clothes coming alive, and Elon is like, yeah, I've been trying to warn the world, but now I'm just resigned to do it. It's like, where's the grown-ups, right? The grown-ups are just like, oh, okay, that's not a good idea then, right? Like where's the person to just come in and look at that feedback and act on it?
Yes.
I think it's quite striking. If you look at it from outside, I think the unique field, there's no other type of business where people talk about extinction like that. I mean, imagine you were selling something else and you say, I have a probability of killing everyone. And, that's unique, right? And
right. Here's my sandwich. Buy my sandwich. It has a solid 25% chance of killing everyone. Sales would be low.
Exactly. That alone is evidence that something weird's going on.
If you like the content we're making here on the AI Risk Network, but you're not a subscriber, what are you thinking? We need everyone to be a subscriber. Do it.
All right, guys, we are at time. I think the moral of the story from today's lesson is, as we always like to say, it's like, don't believe us. You don't have to believe us. Listen to the people who are making this stuff themselves. They indict themselves all the time with their open admissions that what they're doing is out of control and the most dangerous thing that anyone has ever done. All right. That's time for this week, gentlemen. Pleasure to see you as always. Pound. Little on the way out. Oh, yep. Some sweatshirt. Oh, and I will say this, with the Liron swag pack, there is also the tote bag, which on the back side gives.
Can you throw it to me?
Yeah,
I will catch it.
So good. So that's right. Awesome. All right, great to see you guys.
All right, guys.
See you next week.
Okay.
See you, Don.